Well, people, we are Tottenham TV back here for yet another Tottenham update. And we've got some good news and we've got some bad news to bring you in terms of injury news, first and foremost.
What's that I hear? Is that an oncoming train?
Oh, God. The Tottenham merry-go-round it's just too much, man. All season it's been the same. But Paul O'Keefe broke it and he said, Dejan Kulusevski is suffering from a foot injury. That's being investigated further. However, in better news, Romero, Van de Ven and Solanke are all in line for Thursday's squad against AZ Alkmaar. Sami Mokbel also saying in line with similar things, saying Tottenham have been dealt a fresh injury blow with Deki to spend a period on the sidelines with a foot injury. He'll certainly miss the AZ Alkmaar and Bournemouth games this week and remains to be seen whether he can play before the international break. There is a hope that first choice centre-backs Romero and Van de Ven are close to making their returns. And Matt Law was speaking about Cuti Romero, and he says that Tottenham did give Argentina the green light to call up Cuti Romero for the upcoming international break after discussions took place on how Romero was progressing in his recovery from the injury. Romero is now in the running to be in the Spurs squad for the AZ Alkmaar game on Thursday. So obviously very good news in terms of Van de Ven, Romero and Dom Solanke. But Kulusevski, I mean, I've been saying it for a while. Kulusevski, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets injured soon, and here it is.
Yeah, ironically, it was just after the game he got rested for. He's been injured, so that's just how it works with injuries sometimes. But from what Paul O'Keefe was apparently saying, it's like a sore foot or a knock to the foot. So yeah, I don't know how much you can do about that. I don't know if it's something he picked up in training or something he picked up during a game, but it's just one of those things. He was bound to probably pick one up at some point during the season. I think most players do. And we all know that Deki definitely has been in the best form over the past few weeks, it's fair to say. So maybe this rest and he can come back re-energised with doing well after this little break if he's missing the next couple of games. But still, with big games coming up against RZ, you want your best players available, and the fact that he's going to be unavailable is a bit of a blow. But we should have enough without him to get through that time, I'm hoping.
Yeah, you would assume so. I mean, it's against a team that we've already beaten this season and a team that we beat, with a Mikey Moore absolutely smashing it on the wing. So I don't think it puts any hopes about or any fears that we go into that Europa League game and we're automatically at second favourites or anything. We should still be able to go out to Holland on Thursday night, stamp our authority and come home with a positive result. It's just really frustrating because it's like you get a few back, one goes out. It's like one in, one out. The revolving door throughout the whole season has just been so frustrating.
Yeah, and this seems, I don't know if it's a bit of luck, this one, or what's caused it, but it just seems to be the law of this season that whenever you get a player back, one goes out, and Deki's been the full guy. Does Deki count as three players? That's why we're getting three back and Deki's coming out. But it's great news that Van de Ven, Romero and Solanke should be available for Thursday. That should be a massive boost, and it's going to be interesting to see what Ange does at centre-back with those two back, with Danso playing quite well at the moment, who he picks. From what he was saying that Mickey was going to be ahead of Romero, but now it seems like Romero might be ahead of him. I'm not sure which one is. I do wonder, a Danso-Romero backline, how aggressive that's going to be, just stepping up. We're going to have no one at centre-back. We're just going to have both players stepping out all the time, playing in midfield and running all over the shop. But maybe that chaos we can thrive in. But it'll be interesting to see what Ange does.
Yeah, in terms of the cause of the injury, obviously it's very hard for us to know without being privy to too much information and being behind closed doors. But the reality is he has been suffering with fatigue for a while, Kulusevski, and fatigue does increase the chances and risks of injury. So it could be just a freak accident that happened, that he's out for injury, or it could be down to because he has been fatigued and he's picked up, and knocks can come off worse if you're fatigued.
I'm sure he has been fatigued. It's hard not to be when he's played all the minutes he has and the injury crisis we've been through. He's had to step up majorly in that run, so I'm sure he is fatigued. But if it is a knock on the foot, I don't know if just because it's fatigue that's why he's out, or I don't know. We don't really know. But if you hear it's a sore foot and a knock on the foot, you assume that's more likely an impact injury than something muscular or anything like that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you can get one knock when you're at full fitness and full health, and you can get the exact same knock when you're fatigued, and you'll come off worse for it if you're fatigued than if you're at full health, basically.
I understand what you're saying, but players get knocks during the season. It happens, and it's not always down to fatigue, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Last but not last but not least, we've got an update from Florian Plettenberg talking about Benjamin Sesko, saying that until now there had only been talk of a verbal agreement, but now Benjamin Sesko has formally fixed a release clause in his contract until 2029. The clause could be activated starting this summer. It is tied to various parameters such as games played, goals and assists, and increases regularly. Currently, the clause stands at around 70 million euros for the 21-year-old top striker, but by the end of the season, expected to reach approximately 80 million euros. All top English clubs have expressed an interest, including Man United, Tottenham Hotspur, and Arsenal. The only club that is not involved in the race is Manchester City. I mean, I think we could just put an end to Benjamin Sesko talks, because I firmly believe he's on his way to the Emirates this summer.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming to Tottenham, especially we've got Solanke here. We spent big money on him. Obviously, so Richarlison could be on his way, but I don't think we signed Sesko to compete with Solanke. I think we're probably going to sign a striker, a younger striker, like a Tell. He is young, I guess, but he's ready to be, a star right now. I don't think we're going to sign a striker of his caliber to compete with Solanke. It's probably going to be someone a bit younger than. Obviously, he's young, but maybe like someone Tell's age. I thought it was 22, isn't he?
21,
22. Yeah. He's young, but I think everyone knows that he's got explosive potential. And I know even this season, people have questioned him a bit because he hasn't been scoring as many goals as they'd hoped, but he's still scoring quite a lot. And you can see when he plays against the better teams, he always gives them a tough ride, and he always is a major threat. He's got Haaland-like physique, where he's big, he's tall, he's strong, but he's also really quick as well. So I think those elements are a recipe for a very, very good striker. I think he's ready-made for the Premier League. And it's going to take, as you say, if he meets some of those incentives, it's going to take a lot of money to get him out of Leipzig, and I just don't think Tottenham are prepared to pay that. We have Solanke here. I don't think I'm going to be looking on an upgrade on Solanke, to be honest. That's my point. And we're going to be looking at someone who's going to be more in competition with him. Whereas look at Arsenal, they kind of need a number one striker.
Yeah, and I think if Arsenal weren't involved, and if Arsenal weren't looking, they're so desperately for a number 9, and they've had many talks with Sesko over the past 12 months. I do think maybe Spurs would be more seriously looking at him, but just because he's probably going to be onto a starting role in this Arsenal team week in, week out, I just don't think this is going to be a go for Spurs. And on top of that, you're looking at the price, 70 to 80 million. I just don't think that's something Spurs will bite on. So
Liverpool should.
Yeah, the Liverpool should. They definitely should. But at the moment, Florian Plettenberg says it's Manchester United, Tottenham and Arsenal in the race, which means it's probably going to be Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, he says that, I read the updates, there's little chance of Tottenham being the successful one, so it makes sense.
Another update from Florian Plettenberg, and he says many top clubs are interested in Hugo Larsson, and Eintracht Frankfurt are expecting concrete offers for the 20-year-old midfielder. A summer transfer is plausible, with the hierarchy demanding at least 60 million euros as a transfer fee. Larsson is under contract until 2029. Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, and several other teams are monitoring him, including top Bundesliga sides. So, I mean, if top Bundesliga sides are monitoring him, I'm assuming that someone like a Leverkusen or a Bayern Munich.
Or a Dortmund, yeah. We could be coming up against Frankfurt in the Europa League, so we'll have a good look at him. I don't know too much about him. I just know Frankfurt do play quite an intense, pressing, physical game. And if he's at the heart of that, then that could be something that suits us. And I think we are going to be going for a midfielder this season. And maybe he could fit the bill in terms of the way he plays.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play, to be honest, but he is a Swedish national. And
we do like our Swedes, yeah.
We do like our Swedes. Maybe Agent Bergvall and Agent Decky can get in his ear.
If he's good enough, why not?
Yeah, I think is he a defensive midfielder?
I think sounds like he's a box-to-box midfielder.
Box-to-box, so another number 8, which we don't really need. But however, the way that Ange likes to play, he likes players that are multifunctional. He doesn't like players that are just going to be a 6. It does make sense to a certain extent.
Yeah, true.
And last but not least, Fabrizio Romano says that Eberechi Eze remains on Tottenham's shortlist of targets, but his release clause makes any move a difficulty. He's been on Spurs' list since 2023. He's always been highly rated at the club, but the release clause is very expensive. The payment for the clause is not allowed in 3 to 4 years, as usually happens. So that's what makes the deal difficult. and there are more clubs also keen. I mean, I just can't see Spurs going for Eze this summer.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, not that we missed the boat in being able to get him, but we missed the boat in us needing him in a way. Like, I thought last summer was, if we can get someone like Eze through the door and really improve the front line, then I think that is something that we'll be very interested in. But now with Decky's also being a number 10, you've got Maddison there, and you've got a lot of younger wingers, and he's not exactly a natural winger anymore at this stage of his career. I just don't see Tottenham needing to splash 760 million on him. I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, don't get me wrong. I love Eze. I think he's a brilliant player. I do feel like this season, maybe the transfer talks got in his head a bit. I don't feel like he's been as good this season as he was in the last couple of years.
Brilliant the last couple of games, though, for Palace.
Yeah, and maybe if he has a really good end to the season, that could change a lot of people's minds a lot of the time. You see so many players, sometimes they don't have the best season, then the last 10 games they just turn it on, and all of a sudden the conversation about them changes. So that can definitely happen, and he's obviously been injured recently. He's just come back, and he's had a really good last couple of games, so maybe that's given him a different perspective, and he's wanting to... I'm not saying he wasn't giving his all, but I just felt like he was a bit distracted for a lot of this season. Just hasn't really been fantastic for Palace. They've kind of been good despite him rather than because of him, whereas previously it was because of Eze when they were really shining.
I think his goal tally suggests that, like, only 2 goals this season.
And a lot of shots, and a lot of them, I mean, yeah, a lot of them been wayward and been unlucky with a few of them, but he has been taking a lot of shots this season, and he hasn't really been as good as he was. Obviously, he has missed Olise, definitely true. And also with Palace losing Olise last summer, do they want to lose their 2 best players in consecutive summers? But someone activates that release clause, they're not going to have a choice. I just don't think it'll be Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like the top Premier League clubs and which ones need him and which ones could activate that release clause. Man City, could they do it? Do they have a desperate need for him?
Sell Grealish and get Eze?
Yeah, Arsenal could be a potential one.
Arsenal could be. Get rid of Martin Trossard, I think.
Yeah, and obviously Sterling's going back in the summer as well.
And also they need someone to fill in for Odegaard if he's injured.
Exactly. So I think those 2 teams could be higher up the list than Spurs at this moment in time.
Liverpool, I mean, they don't really have a number 10 kind of player. I mean, he could also...
Seems like they don't really need one.
Yeah, true, they don't need one, but why not reinforce? You can play in the front line. If they can get rid of Nunes, get rid of Chiesa, then you get Eze, you can play in the front line and play in the midfield, in the middle 3 as well. Liverpool could maybe be a shout.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are going to... They also need to be thinking about that long-term replacement for Salah. Because, he's 32 years of age. Obviously, he's the best player in probably world football right now, Mohamed Salah, but you still need to start thinking of that replacement there. But look, in terms of Eberechi Eze, I don't really believe this one. I don't really think he's going to be coming to Tottenham Hotspur. And there's also reports about Mark Gehi as well in line for some interest for Spurs this summer. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one.
Yeah, I don't see why Tottenham... Not that I don't like him, I just don't see us being so desperate for him.
Yeah, it just depends if Romero stays or goes, because Romero's contract ain't getting any longer. It doesn't look like at this moment in time, I don't think we'll be able to convince him to sign a new one.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
So that's another situation to keep your eye on. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we've broken to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.